What is going on, everybody? We got another daily episode here at the X Factor Sports Talk. We're diving into yesterday's NBA slate and today's, but let's just dive real quick into last night's slate. So the Cleveland Cavaliers defeated the Atlanta Hawks 114-102. The story for the Cavs continues to be their dynamic backcourt. Obviously, this is a game where a lot of people were looking forward to Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland versus DeJounte Murray and Trae Young. And Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell put on an absolute show, should I say. They scored 55 points and 18 assists combined. And then looking at the Hawks, DeJounte Murray, one of his worst games as a Hawk. He had 11 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, 4 of 17 from the field, so really struggled there. But I think the story for them was Onyeka Okongwu off the bench with 18 points and 10 rebounds. He's a guy that Fred has said in the past that he thinks that he could be the key for them off the bench. Clint Capella kind of is really limited in what he can do, but Onyeka Okongwu is young enough where he can kind of give you that elusiveness in the front court, can get up and down, can fly around the court, can defend multiple positions, and really kind of be a guy that you could throw on guys like Giannis, throw on guys maybe even like Jason Tatum, just kind of give him that physical presence. And he had probably his best game of the season last night with 18 and 10 off the bench. But yeah, this Hawks team, we've said it before, they're not going to go very far unless Trae Young and DeJounte absolutely ball out. And now you're hearing rumors that maybe John Collins, his time with the Hawks is coming to an end, maybe finally. It seemed like last year they were going to trade him and nothing materialized, but he played pretty well, 16 points, only 1 rebound, which I find really strange. But nonetheless, the Cavaliers walk out with a win there. And moving on to probably one of the most interesting stories this season, the Indiana Pacers, 10-6, absolutely destroy the Magic, posting up 123 points compared to the Magic's 102. For the Pacers, you look at their team, I mean, it was really a team effort. And obviously, off the bench, they got some dudes. TJ McConnell, 19 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds, 7 of 8 from the field. Benedict Mathurin continues his great run with 22 points. Isaiah Jackson with 10 and 8, and then O'Shea Brissett with 18 points and 3 rebounds. Just a really, really good game for their guys off the bench. And for the starters, nothing really stands out outside of Tyrese Halliburton. Congratulations to him, Eastern Conference Player of the Week. But yeah, the bench scoring for the Pacers really took them over the top. And then for the Magic, nothing really stands out. Looking at the box score, Franz Wagner played pretty well. But they too were a little shorthanded. No Wendell Carter Jr., no Paolo, no Cole Anthony still. So they're not a good team. They're not a deep team. And then they miss some of their top guys. They're going to be absolutely terrible. Same goes for the next game. The Pelicans destroyed the Warriors. The Warriors, of course, without Andrew Wiggins, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, all of them rested. Jordan Poole did his thing with 26 points, 0 rebounds, and 0 assists. You can tell where his mind was at there. Pelicans punched them in the mouth early, never took their foot off the gas, which is exactly what you should do to a team that is benching their guys. You just suck the life out of them, give them no hope, and that's what they did. Brandon Ingram with 34. CJ McCollum played okay. Zion didn't even have to put up his best game. Just a really easy game for the Pelicans. They faced no sort of pushback from the Warriors. The Warriors had quarters with 16 points, 18 points, and the Pelicans scored 30 across every quarter in the game. So they couldn't stop them, and the Pelicans dominate. The Boston Celtics, their winning streak comes to a close. They fall in Chicago, 121-107. Another game where the Celtics starters played a ton of minutes. 35 minutes for Jason Tatum, 38 for Jaylen Brown. Their bench is something that a lot of people were high on coming into the year. They faced some injuries. If Sam Hauser isn't shooting the ball extremely well off the bench, they play Luke Cornett off the bench. And of course, Derek White has his moments, but he was struggling. It just wasn't their night, just to put a bow on it. But looking at the Bulls, they get a big, big win for them. 22, 5-5 from Zach LaVine. DeMar DeRozan had 28. Nikola Vucevic continues to kind of be that Swiss Army knife, 12, 13, and 6 there. they didn't really have an eye-popping game either from anybody off the bench or really anybody starting. But just one of those games where I think it was just not the Celtics night, and they still posted 107 points. They were due a loss, and they fall in Chicago. The Milwaukee Bucks played the Trailblazers, and the Milwaukee Bucks won 119-111. Giannis Antetokounmpo continues just to be the guy. 37 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Jrue Holiday played pretty well. This team is 12-4, and they haven't played with Chris Middleton yet. This team's unbelievable. They were my pick last year to win it all. Obviously, faced some injuries in the postseason. Still almost beat the Boston Celtics, but just couldn't get the job done, couldn't get over the top. They needed their go-to guy down the stretch. And just, Giannis is what he is, but he needs that clear number 2, and that's Chris Middleton. Everybody can love Jrue Holiday all they want, but Chris Middleton is the number 2 option in Milwaukee, and he's a fantastic basketball player. And I can't wait to see them whenever he gets back. For the Blazers, there was no Damian Lillard, so Anthony Simons absolutely balled out. 29 points, 5 rebounds. Yusuf Nurkic had 16 and 10. Blazers still a really fun team, 10-7 on the year. Just the Western Conference is such a cluster. It's going to be so much fun to sift throughout these daily shows and our weekly pods, just to try to see if one of us can predict who's going to come out of this wicked Western Conference. I think that the Eastern Conference kind of have the studs, whereas the Western Conference is just a big cluster of just really, really solid teams. And one of those solid teams would be the Minnesota Timberwolves. They get over 500. They put up 105 points compared to the Heat's 101, so they get the win there for the Timberwolves. Rudy Gobert had 4 points, 9 rebounds, didn't attempt a field goal, as crazy as that sounds. D'Angelo Russell played terrible, but they still got the job done. Karl-Anthony Towns had 25, 8, and 9. I'm just not very high on either of these teams. But the Heat, again, without Jimmy Butler, without Victor Oladipo still, without Tyler Hero still, Duncan Robinson, Gabe Vincent, really having to rely on their top-end guys because off the bench they had Dwayne Dedmon available. They had Haywood Highsmith and Jamal Cain off the bench. That's a recipe for disaster, but they only lost by 4, so that just shows the grit and the grind of the Miami Heat. Moving on, the Oklahoma City Thunder fall and maybe be falling back down to earth just a little bit. They still posted some pretty high-scoring quarters. Shea did his thing, 35 and 7. But as a team, they're starting to come down to earth a little bit, even though Lou Dort with 24 and 8. Josh Giddey played pretty well. It just seems like they're starting to kind of start their creeping back towards reality, maybe towards the bottom end of the conference. We just posted that video about Shea. Can he lead the Thunder? We think he can, but maybe not this year, and that's okay. Looking at the New York Knicks, they finally got production out of R.J. Barrett. Well past due. Jalen Brunson has been playing really, really good basketball, 34 and 9. Julius Randle with 25 and 11. So the makeshift big three for the New York Knicks played really, really well and led them to a win. And the only nightcap on last night was the Clippers facing off against the Utah Jazz, and no Paul George, no problem. Reggie Jackson balls out, and Norman Powell off the bench with a 30 ball. Norman Powell can kind of take this team to that next level, that next gear. He can get really, really hot. When he's going, he's really, really good. And that can be kind of a key floor spacing piece for this team with Paul George, Kawhi presumably getting healthy, Reggie Jackson even. This team could be a lot of fun. We all were really high on them coming into the year. So seeing a game like that without Paul George, Kawhi playing, it's nice to see them go out and get a win because I didn't think they were going to. And then you look at the Utah Jazz. Laurie Bird continues to play really, really good, 25 and 10. Jordan Clarkson played well with 26. Kelly Olynyk with 19. The Jazz, man, they continue just to kind of just lurk around. Again, the Western Conference is such a cluster. Maybe they can find their way out. That concludes all of yesterday's games. Looking ahead to today, we only have 4 games, but I love all 4 games that we have here. The first game, Ben Simmons returns to Philadelphia. Cannot wait for this one. I don't think there's going to be much drama when it comes to on the floor. I think the Brooklyn Nets are going to cruise, and they're going to get right to 500. They're going to get to 9-9, and the 76ers will fall below 500. The reason I'm so excited for this, Obviously, there's no Embiid, there's no Harden, no Maxey for the 76ers. But the reason I'm excited for this is just to see how aggressive they let Ben Simmons be. Like, you should win this game as a Brooklyn Net, like as the Brooklyn Nets. They should win this game. They should dominate this game. I think they're going to. But how aggressive do they allow Ben Simmons to be? That's what I can't wait to watch. I think Ben Simmons has a really, really good game. I think he finishes with about 16, 8, and 9. If I had to put my finger on it, I think it's 16, 8, and 9. I'd love to see them be like, dude, go take 20 shots. I think Kevin Durant and Kyrie are going to be like, hey, you go do your thing. You know, we're right here. We're your teammate. We're going to back you. We're going to walk out of here with a dub, but you try to lead us there. And I hope that's what we see. You never know in these types of games. But I do have the Brooklyn Nets coming into Philadelphia and getting a win. The Sacramento Kings go on the road to play the Memphis Grizzlies. Probably the game of the night. This game could be so much fun. Ja Morant is reportedly ready to go. He's back from his ankle injury. Cannot wait to see this. I love the hype that the Kings are starting to get nationally. It makes me happy. For those of you that have watched leading up to the season, this was my do not sleep on them team. Like, this team can be a playoff team. I had them as my 7th seed in the Western Conference. Got a lot of flack for it on the TikTok. But nonetheless, they've done really, really well. But I do think they fall in Memphis today against Ja Morant and the Grizzlies. I just think the building is going to be so excited for Ja. Obviously, I think the Kings are really, really good. But they're on that winning streak. I think they're due a loss. Everybody is due 1 or 2 every now and again whenever you're rolling. And I think this is where the Kings fall. The Denver Nuggets face the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons need a win really, really badly. They need to play as desperate as they possibly can. And I think you see an extremely desperate NBA team tonight in Denver. I think it's looking like Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Ish Smith, and Bones Highland are all game time decisions. But there's no Sadiq Bey, no Cade Cunningham, and no Isaiah Stewart for the Pistons. I am going to go with the Pistons, though. I think that they need a win. I think their backs are against the wall. I think they get a big performance out of their veteran and Bogey. I think he leads them and almost wills them to a win in Denver. And then the nightcap. Why do I keep saying gap? Nightcap is the Phoenix Suns versus the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers are riding high on a 3-game winning streak. They do come into tonight 10-point underdogs. The LeBron-less Lakers, they are undefeated without LeBron. So that's a little nugget for you. But the Phoenix Suns will be without Chris Paul, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, and Landry Shamet. So it's an interesting game. I think Anthony Davis continues his dominance. I'm not going to go as far to say the Lakers win this game, but I think it's a very competitive game. I think that Anthony Davis kind of flirts with a 24-18 and like 4 kind of game. I think he plays extremely well, extremely efficient. I could honestly see him trying to take this so personally and try to literally be like, we can win and will them to a win against the Phoenix Suns in Phoenix. Huge statement opportunity for the Lakers. But I am going to go with the Suns here. I just think that they just have a little bit too much, and that's fine. They seem to always have an edge on us, no matter how I feel or what I think could happen. They always just seem to have an edge. I do think we see a big game out of Dennis Schroeder off the bench for the Lakers. The guard play for the Suns is being really, really – their depth is being really, really tested. So I think you could see a very energetic Russell Westbrook, a very energetic Dennis Schroeder off the bench looking to feast on the depth of the Phoenix Suns. So it's going to be a fun game, going to be really, really interesting to watch, but I do have the Suns winning in a really, really close game by about 4 to 5 points. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. As always, we love you guys, man, and we'll see you soon. I'm sure all the guys are really, really excited to get on here all together. We will have a weekly pod out for you soon. Promise on that. We love you guys. Thank you.